kick off this evening with a very special presentation. We're pleased to welcome TESL Ontario's career specialist, Catherine Crawford, to join us this evening. As a certified career strategist, resume strategist, and psychometric facilitator, Catherine has a very unique set of knowledge, skills, abilities, and credentials that provides clients with a range of services related to their development. A professional with over a decade of experience at McMaster University, which happens to be where I met her when we worked together many, many moons ago in human resources and across multiple sectors within the community. Catherine has served countless employees and teams across different sectors at every level, and we're very happy to have her here with us this evening.
Thanks so much, everyone. And Dave, thank you so much for that warm welcome. I don't need to introduce myself because Dave just did such a fantastic job. So I'm really happy to be here with everyone today. First and foremost, for those who are joining us, congratulations for many of you choosing this career path. You've already done your homework, I'm sure, on uncovering your values, your interests, your strengths, personality, as well as ambitions on why this teaching profession is right for you. So a lot of you already have your certifications or going through it, but the work isn't done yet. And now a lot of us are sitting here saying, okay, now how do I get a job, especially in today's labor market? This is going to be a pretty quick presentation. I could probably do, multiple hours long presentation on everything I'm going to talk about today, my bucket topics, if you will. But I want to do what's just a really quick, high level overview. And hopefully you're going to recognize a few areas here today that you say, I need a deeper dive. That's maybe the area that I don't have enough information on. And then by all means, you can always reach out to myself or maybe even speak to it more in depth with a mentor here this evening. Okay, so what are we going to look at? Career planning really is the next three phases is really about your marketing materials, and I'll go through what that is, your job search strategies, okay, and then the interview preparation. So these are those vital steps now that you have to take in order to land your teaching job. All right, so let's get into it. What are those marketing materials? Well, it's kind of this overarching fancy term for your cover letter, your resume, as well as your social media presence. So of course, a very popular networking tool is the LinkedIn, and then our elevator pitch. So the people who we're speaking to and even networking to, how are we showcasing our skill sets? So the cover letter. Use your cover letter to answer every point that is mentioned in the advertisement or the job description, okay? You really want to customize this. It's no more than one page. It's a formal letter written in first person, and a really great new strategy that people are using that's really getting the attention of employers today is in the body of the actual cover letter. Instead of writing out in long paragraphs the reason why you should be the candidate of choice, the strategy is to actually use bullet points. And there's lots of examples of this online, and then also I have them as well. And even the Toronto Public Library has fantastic books and resources to be able to flip through some examples. But if they're bullet points and they're very short sentences to the point of how you align with the job. And the reason why we're doing this now is because hiring managers may have, 80 to 100, 200 resumes, and they're spending seconds on your cover letter. So you want to grab their attention. Okay. The resume. This is quite overwhelming for a lot of people, but it's worth putting your time and effort into this piece. The resume has to be a strategic document that speaks to your relevant work experience. It is not an autobiography of everything you've ever done. It is a very targeted, 2-page at the most, 1 page is fine too, document that aligns yourself with the role that you're going for. And if I can just talk about some really great strategies for resume building, start off with a headliner like in a newspaper. What is your career brand? Okay, so who are you? Maybe you're an experienced ESL teacher. And then some people even like to put a little tagline underneath that headline about maybe 3 soft skills that makes them an excellent teacher. Then you move into what I call your value proposition, a profile paragraph that is strong accomplishment statements of what you've been doing, your relevant education credentials. And again, it's all targeted to the role you're going for. And then into what I call your core competencies. This can be a list format or a column format, but core competencies or skill sets that you have or you're really proficient at, again, that are aligned with the role you're going for. That's all before you get into work history, and I want to say relevant work history because that's really important, as well as your education. This format is called a hybrid resume. So a lot of us are really used to what's called a reverse chronological resume. And the #1 hiring format nowadays for hiring managers and recruiters is what is called the hybrid. So that's the format I just explained. Okay. Then we get into LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn, a lot of people say to me, do I have to have a LinkedIn profile? And it's only going to serve you well if you do. And it's, although it's not a mere copy of the resume, there's a lot of similarities. Your career brand really should be showcased there. So when an employer does look you up on LinkedIn, say, it should match your narrative for your cover letter, your elevator pitch, as well as your resume. Okay. And the one thing I will say about LinkedIn is that definitely it's a wonderful networking tool, especially in this very virtual world that we're in due to the pandemic. And it's a lovely way to be able to like a comment or follow an organization you hope to work for and seeing what are they posting about, what are the trends. And then also too, perhaps reach out to somebody for an informational interview and learn about what skill sets do you have? How did you break into the industry? So I really do recommend, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, to maybe that's one of your takeaways today is to, or maybe even just refresh it if you already have one. And then of course we get to the elevator pitch. Before contacting anyone, so that's say for an informational interview or a networking meeting, you want to be prepared to introduce yourself with a 30-second commercial. This is really like a marketing statement. The statement is so useful to describe yourself in just a few sentences and also where you hope to land. Okay, so what is your intention? So this is what I call your overall marketing materials. Okay, job search strategy. I wanted to share this screen with you because it's so important to show the statistics on how to get a job. If you take a look at this, what should be jumping out at you is that 90% of jobs are found networking. Okay, so responding with, say, a resume to a job posting is only going to yield 4% of people find a job that way. So it's a very low return. So if you're spending all day just scouring job boards, it's going to take you a long time to be able to land, according to these statistics. If you're networking, though, it will be a whole lot faster. All right. And this is why. Responding to job postings, working, say, with a recruiter, or even just cold calling or emailing, I should say, a company, all of these methods are passive. And then networking is an active process. And what I mean by that is if you think about passive, as not having to really speak to anybody. You're behind a computer screen, if you will, and just, sending out an email or responding to a job board, right? Pressing enter. Networking, though, is the active. So you're continuously engaging. You're making an impression in person to somebody. You're learning about maybe a hidden job market. Okay, so really important there. If your takeaway job search strategy, get networking. And then the interview preparation is all important. So once you've done all your homework in terms of your marketing materials are all in place, you know that you need to be networking, right? And then finally, you're landing that all important interview. What do you do then? Well, I tell my clients, be prepared like you would for an exam. You have to do the studying. So what are you studying? Well, you're studying yourself. What are your skill sets? What's my added value? What do I have to offer? Right? You have to have a really good understanding of your resume, of course, your accomplishments in your past. And then you have to have a really good understanding of the organization that you've just applied to. Take a look at their website, take a look at their Twitter account, take a look at their LinkedIn profile. What are they posting about? And I love to tell my clients that the first question of many interviews is something along the lines of, tell us about yourself and why you're the right candidate for the role. This is a general overview of your career history, your education, your soft skills, and why you're compatible with the job description. Practice that one. Write it down. Rehearse it because you know what's coming. And first impressions mean a lot in a job interview. And then there could be some what I call behavioral-based questions afterwards. The best predictor of the future, of course, is your past behavior. So if you want to look up STAR method, if you've never heard about it, but this is that secret to answering these behavioral-based questions. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. And it's a beautiful way to summarize or give an answer, I should say, to these behavioral-based questions. And then, of course, you must have 2 to 3 questions ready to ask the interview panel at the end. And finally, I highly recommend a thank you email afterwards to the hiring panel. That is, I think I made it there, Dave, just in time, but that was a really high level overview of the next steps that I'm sure everyone's about to embark on. So thanks so much for having me for this mini presentation.